Funny how it all works out in given time. I've never had the patience to see it right.
Welcome to the Indie Tea Talk podcast. I'm Adam and this is Kitty, your hosts for a journey into indie music across the north of England. Tune in as we explore unique melodies, chat with talented artists and create a space where you can discover your favourite music like never before. Also, if you're new to Indie Tea Talk, please show your support by hitting that subscribe button. It's a massive help to us and the amazing artists that we have on. Today on Indie Tea Talk, we're diving into the immersive world of Flat Number 2, the brainchild of singer-songwriter Declan Vink. His cinematic approach to music blends analogue synths, self-recorded soundscapes, and deep storytelling, creating a modern pop that feels as visual as it does sonic. With influences spanning Frank Ocean, cinematography and film studies, as well as his personal heritage, Flat Number 2 crafts music that pushes beyond its genre into emotional landscapes. We'll be talking about the creation of his EP, the philosophy behind the sound, and sharing some exclusive live performances. So please join me in welcoming Flat Number 2 into the studio. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you very much. How are you?
I always get a lot better after I get the introduction over and done with. So, yeah, I'm great now.
I enjoyed that. Yeah.
There's going to have to be, it'll all be edited out, so you guys won't see how horrendously I've just done trying to read that introduction. There was a lot of philosophies, I think.
I loved every second of it.
Oh, dear. Well, it's a great day today because we are joined by Declan, but we're also joined by Kitty.
Hey.
The elusive Kitty.
I'm not elusive.
You have been recently. So I suppose we should dive into a little bit about your music, namely your kind of unique approach to blending cinematic elements and soundscapes. What kind of brought you to that sort of conclusion? Did it start when you were at film school or?
Yeah, I think I've always been inspired by like visuals and film, and it probably comes from my dad because he's like really into his photography and does a lot of like playing around with videography stuff. But yeah, I went to film school and I tried to pursue it, and I didn't really get very far. I kind of ended up dropping out after the first year, but I've still carried on. Like I'm very much inspired by films that I watch or like the music videos. Like for this record, we shot a music video on Super 8 in Finland. We shot one just on iPhone in New York, and we used VHS in the Balkans. So like we were just basically, yeah, it was really cool. So I mean, they were just places that we were going traveling anyway, but we just wanted to make the most of it by like documenting the experience and turning it into something that relates to the music. And yeah,
nice.
How exciting! So you've got kind of a bit of a hodgepodge of heritage from Dutch to Irish.
Of heritage, I like that.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
yeah, I'm going to use that in the press release.
I would absolutely. Do you think that these sort of cultural mixes have impacted your creative process quite a lot, or?
It's interesting, really. I mean, it's hard to tell because, you know, it's all that I know, really.
Well,
but,
yeah, I suppose.
But
thanks for pointing out the flaw in that question.
Shit question.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah.
no, I think it's a great question.
Yeah. But I don't know because I've been like that all my life, so.
No, maybe it's just a terrible answer. But I think, maybe, I mean, my family and my upbringing have inspired me in a lot of ways. So I guess that in that way, like my heritage has inspired the ideas behind the song, like the way that my family live, or just the experiences that I've had growing up. A lot of the time is what I like to write about. So yeah.
Do you I don't know how the Dutch, the Irish, and the British heritage all kind of come together. Have you got like quite Irish parts of your family and quite Dutch parts? Like, do you go and immerse yourself in different cultures, or is it all just compiled together? Does that make sense? What I'm trying to ask.
I think so. Yeah. Like my mum's side of the family are very, very Irish. So like, you know, I was brought up like when I was a tiny kid, like Irish dancing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like,
I did Irish
did
dancing
you?
as a kid.
Like when I was very, very small.
Did you play the tin whistle as well?
I didn't play the tin whistle, but I've had to go on the bowron.
Oh, okay.
And my sisters both play violin, and I spent a lot of time in a band with my sister, one of my sisters, Siobhan. Yeah, my dad's side aren't as musical, but equally, like, I find the culture interesting, and we have a lot of conversations with my granddad about, you know, what it was like living in Holland and things like that. But I think just in general, I'm very fascinated by other cultures, and really, like, something that I'm really keen to do is, like, experience as many different, like, cultures as I can, and you know, go traveling and see what, because it opens your eyes to, like, new ideas. And I think that was actually a big part of this record, like taking inspiration from some of the places that I've been, or some of the places that I'd like to go. You know, like, I love this idea that some countries have, like, words that describe things that we don't even have words to describe in like the UK. So that idea really fascinates me, this idea that we might have emotions that we don't even know how to put into words. And I think in some ways that's kind of what songwriting is, like, you're trying to, like, articulate these feelings that you don't know how to express. And I think that played a lot into this record that's coming out soon.
Nice.
Do you know, I bloody love doing this podcast because I speak to so many people and they come up with so many concepts that I've just never even considered. I'm like, what a lovely thing that is. That's brilliant.
It's really, really fascinating. Yeah, when you deep
it
dive.
It bloody is, yeah. It really is.
That was like, I remember I've got a song called Other Windows that's like the feeling, you know, like when it's cold outside and you look in someone else's window as you walk past and you get like a little warm sense of like that. There's just something nice about it. And then someone came up to me at the end of the gig and said, oh, there is actually a word for that feeling. And I can't remember for the life of me what it was, but I remember being like, wow, as if there's a word for this. I've written a whole song about it and there's actually just one word that I can,
you could have summarised it.
I had a really similar experience, actually. One song that I just released, the last song that I released, called Empty. And it's about, like, emptiness syndrome and sort of like the secondhand guilt that you experience when you leave home, and, like, well, when my sisters left home as well, like the space that you leave behind. And when we were over in Finland shooting the video, we met up with my sister's boyfriend's family for the first time, and I told him what I was doing, and I'd written this song, and he said, like, you do realise there's a word for that idea of, like, waiting by the door for, like, somebody to come back. And he speaks Portuguese, and he told me this word. I can't remember for the life of me just to say what it was, but it's just fascinating that, you know, these things that we write songs about can often be summed up in a word that, like, another country just already is
that
aware
we don't
of.
have.
Yeah.
Shit English language.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, as British people, like, we're so terrible at expressing ourselves. So, yeah.
So your debut EP, I Don't Want to Dream Anymore, that kind of has a deep message of self-empowerment. Can you talk about the kind of moment you realised that you wanted to create music with that kind of message or meaning behind it?
Yeah, I think like that kind of came right at the start of the project. So I first moved to York at the same time as Flat Number 2 became a thing. So I was sort of like finding my feet, and
you were saying just after lockdown,
just
right?
after lockdown, yeah. So it was like a really weird time, and I was trying to make
time, yeah,
like trying to make friends during lockdowns, like obviously not really possible. Yeah, I guess that like Where I'm Supposed to Be, for example, which is probably my favourite song from the record, which I'm going to perform soon. That song is just about sort of like we're always like wondering. Well, it's kind of what it says on the tin, you know, like we're always like thinking like the grass is greener, and just the idea that maybe instead of like worrying that you've not done enough, like, or you're not you're not like putting enough effort into this, or, you know, putting lots of pressure on yourself. Like, what if actually you are just like where you're supposed to be, and maybe you should just be like content with that. And that's like a running theme through my life. So I think writing that, I always end up coming back to that song, and it's always relevant somehow.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's a difficult one because like with social media as it is, and like this sort of expectation to be something that most people just aren't. Like most of social media is it's like a false sort of reality, isn't it? And I think that a lot of people are trying to aspire to that aggrandized life.
Yeah.
When in reality, they've got everything that they need.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, some people are in much worse situations than others, but like you can just be you can just be grateful for what you've got sometimes, can't
yeah.
you?
Yeah. It's
And
okay
not
to
searching for the next
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Exactly, and it's like such an easy habit to fall into, like you know, and like you say with social media, it doesn't always represent what we're experiencing in real life. Like all of us will probably portray like a positive side of our
Yeah.
day-to-day experience, but in a way that has an impact on people because people wonder why I live in that life. It's like that
Yeah.
isn't actually the life that anyone's living. Like
Yeah.
you know, we all go through ups and downs and shit times, and like maybe we need to talk about that a bit more often. You know.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, 100%. That's the big thing about what we've been talking about a lot with artists that have come on, is just being able to vocalize that and to say it's okay to talk about things that aren't going as you want them to be or whatever. And yeah, and I think that kind of ties in from a different perspective almost, as like you were saying, you know, it's okay if things aren't going as well, but it's also okay to appreciate that, like, bloody hell, look at what I've achieved.
Yeah.
You know, I've done all these amazing things, and
Yeah. 100%.
So moving on a little bit more to your recording techniques, a lot of your more produced stuff it's got a lot of soundscapes and like natural environments, a lot of home recording aspects. Like, what's the most strange or unexpected sound you've used on a song?
I think I had this random idea on Red Light, which is like the third song from my last record, where because I named the project Flat Number 2, which was where I was living at the time, that sort of was documenting this experience of like moving home and finding my feet in this new place. I just wanted to, whilst I was there, I was renting the place, so I was like, I want to have this like recorded. So
Right.
the room had like this beautiful Juliet balcony that opened out, and this one day it was raining outside, and like for like the second half of that track, it's literally just a soundscape of me like going out, opening the balcony doors, turning the TV on. Like I just wanted to document it whilst I had the ability to do that. I guess.
Nice. I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah.
And it's kind of branched out from there then into different songs and different aspects. And
I guess so, yeah. I think like the first record in a lot of ways is like the polar opposite of the record that's coming out in April. Like it's very like heavily produced, whereas I made like a conscious effort with the second to be like just really raw and not try to perfect everything, and it to be a bit rough around the edges and using a lot more like acoustic instrumentation and things like that. Just because I found myself like leaning more towards that and those ideas. So yeah.
It's funny, isn't it, how you go, I've definitely gone through that of learning the world of producing stuff yourself at home, and you become such a perfectionist. You want every single sound you could possibly get on everything, and you kind of like, you just pack everything in there, don't you? And then I've done exactly the same, where you come out of it and you're like, actually, I might pick up a guitar again.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I think for me, that realization came when I started working with another producer, because I've been working with a guy called Mickey Dale on this record, and just having that like second pair of ears, somebody telling you like, you know, like you don't need to do 50 takes. Like I don't, you know, like just leave it there and let's move on to the next thing.
You don't need to do 50 takes of the backing vocal that's going to be turned down so low that you can't even hear it. Like
exactly, it's so important, and just somebody to keep you moving, you know, because otherwise, if you're just producing by yourself and writing, and it's all just in your own room, like it's hard to get the song out of that room. I know that you'll know what that's like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I think one of because I've struggled with that in the past, like from the production side of it. One of the beauties of doing this podcast is that there's quite a tight turnaround, so I don't have that ability anymore, which I fucking love, because it's such a drag, and it's so difficult to know when the end of something is.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like it's got to be like I need this to be done now because I need to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And having that external perspective kind of gives you that freedom of thought as well, because you're not sat there thinking, is that right? Is that good enough?
Yeah.
And someone else go, yeah, that's brilliant, that, because they've not been sat there for like 18 hours doing the same thing.
And just reminding yourself why you do it, you know, like you do it because you enjoy it and like you want people to hear it, and just coming back to that instead of just getting lost in like the process, which is so easy to do.
So easy, yeah.
Right then,
The most important.
The most
question.
important. I've been banging this drum for a while now, and I'm glad to say that people are actually starting to take me a bit serious. And yeah, people are stopping me on the street, asking me about tea, and
Asking you to sign tea
Do you think
bags.
Yorkshire
Absolutely,
Tea
yeah.
will ever sponsor us? Maybe we should fight for it more.
I hope they do.
it'd be great. Yeah, but I'm not.
Or
I'm,
Morrison's.
Yeah,
Morrison's Pizza.
Morrison's Pizzas. Yeah. I think that's a little unknown fact about this podcast. It's run off Morrison's make it your own pizza.
Although Declan didn't get any today, did
No.
he?
I had the frozen pizzas, but they were equally delicious. They were really good.
Yes.
You didn't get that top tier experience. You'll have to come back.
Yes, the make it your own machine
Make
That-
it your own
that basically puts cling film around it was damaged.
Oh, that's
so,
rough.
So that apparently we can't put cling film around by hand.
You can't bring your own cling film.
No, apparently not. Anyway, this
disappointing.
is not about pizza. This is about tea. Right? Stop diverting me. So, if your music was a flavour of tea, what would it be and why?
Okay, I've kind of done this question backwards, right? Because there is only one tea that I like, and it's kind of predictable. Anyone that knows me knows that I have a sausage dog puppy called Matcha.
You just say sausage flavoured tea
I
then?
really thought that's what you were going for.
Like, what the hell's this?
No, not a sausage flavoured tea. A sausage dog called Matcha.
Right, okay.
And Matcha is the only tea that I can drink. So I've decided to go with Matcha and then sort of done a tenuous link around it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, which is exactly what you wanted, wasn't
Nice.
it?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what we wanted.
So, yeah, I'm quite interested, going back to like being interested in other cultures and things like that, in Japanese culture.
Right.
And one of the main things that inspired this record that's coming out was this concept called wabi-sabi. I don't know if you've come across it before. And it's the idea of finding beauty in imperfection, which is basically what we were just talking about.
Nice.
Oh, right.
And like that's basically the running theme through it. You know, the finding beauty in imperfection, and also coming to terms with the idea of impermanence as well, which is something that I think a lot of people struggle with. Like, you know, we're only here for a certain amount of time, making the most of that time, and you know, people that you love not always being around forever. And so yeah, that basically
That's a really
sums
nice
up
idea.
this record.
I love it.
I really like that as well. I was trying to explain this to someone recently, that why is it that we work so hard to make recordings sound so crisp and perfect when a lot of the recordings I listen to of my favourite artists are like, you know, demo versions of stuff, and it's just, there's something about little fuck ups that is so nice.
It's the authenticity, I think.
Yeah.
It's
Authenticity.
authentic.
That is the word that sums
Yeah.
it up. It really is. And there's a couple of artists out there that like really lean into that so well. Like, I don't know if you've listened to Dijon and McGee.
Yeah.
And like they sort of describe it as like, you know, you can hear a packet of crisps opening in the background.
Yeah.
It's that sort of like really just like fly on the wall experience where you're in the room with them, just like they're having fun and they're making music and it's raw
Yeah.
and authentic, like you say.
There's a Matt Maltese recording of a song called Even If It's a Lie, and that's a similar thing where he's clearly playing piano and you can hear the chair creak every time he moves.
Yeah.
And that's like one of my favourite recordings of him, but it is just literally him playing the song through. But yeah, it's interesting.
So raw, yeah.
Well, I can tell you that I've never had matcha tea before.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I've not tried mine yet.
And it's interesting.
I'm really excited for you to try matcha tea for the first time, because
I've tried it. I've just had a mouthful, and it's an interesting colour.
interesting is always a word people use when they don't like it.
No, I
It's
don't know how I feel about it.
It's lemon. It's slightly lemon flavoured, isn't
I don't
it?
dislike
Yes, it is a lemony matcha. Yeah, it's like a yuzu lemon matcha, I think it's called.
I almost feel like it
Fancy.
should be like an accompaniment to an Indian curry.
It tastes a little bit like a.
It
don't
tastes
you
like a
think
mint yogurt sauce.
Oh really? I think it tastes a bit like a cake,
Well,
like a lemon polenta cake or something.
you know what? It's funny because George, your camera guy, he was just telling me he thinks it tastes like cheesecake. So
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
George, you're on the same page.
Yeah,
I am miles away
He's
from you
so-
guys. I'm so far away
curry.
from you.
it took me a while to get it, but I think I do get it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well-
most matcha doesn't taste like that. It just kind of tastes.
Yeah, I
a
was
lot of
gonna
people say it
say-
tastes like grass, but
All right. I like it. I do like it. It's nice. But yeah.
I'm glad that
I think you've again, the effort, top marks. Absolutely top
Top
marks.
marks.
Do you know, we're changing the mould with this question.
Well, when I found out that you asked this question, I was like, I've got to get involved in this. Like, that's amazing. I love it. Yeah. It's great. It's
Brilliant.
great.
Right then, it's time for your first track.
Yes.
What are you going to do for us first?
So the track that I was just talking about, where I'm supposed to be off my first EP, I Don't Want to Daydream Anymore. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Funny how it all works out in given time. I've never had the patience to see it right. Been buying stocks online to help me try speed up the time till I can buy a house out by the sea. Funny how it all comes down to ignorance. Never been too good at listening into life. With oil on my skin, I'm stepping out into the heat. 'Cause I can't wait 3 days to get a time. Funny how you take your time to map it out. Even though it never works out how you dream. Been kicking my young teeth and brushing till all my gums bleed. Like it's gonna make a difference to where I am. Funny how it all makes sense when given time. Not so funny when I'm under so I can't see. It's taken all this time. I think I finally realized that maybe this is where I'm supposed to be.
So your upcoming EP, Cherish, explores imperfection and, like you were saying before, the kind of impermanence of us all. What sparked that kind of theme, and how did you approach writing about it?
Yeah, so I do a lot of journaling, and when I was looking for, I knew I wanted to write a record. Like, I felt myself really, really wanting to write again, and felt like I had a lot of things to say, but I didn't know exactly what it was that I wanted to say. So I guess my starting point was looking back through those old journals, and like the year or two before, I picked out like some themes that like seemed to reoccur all the time, which were those two themes, which is impermanence and imperfection.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just like worrying about, a lot of it is worry, you know, like worrying that like not everything lasts forever. You know, I know it's a bit morbid, but I think a lot of things came down to that. And impermanence as well, like my relationship with like having to be perfect and everything that I create to be perfect,
Mm-hmm.
and whether that's healthy or not. So I think, yeah, those were the two things, and I think that the title of the record, Cherish, was like the only word that I could find that sums up those two concepts like perfectly.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
cherish imperfections and cherish the fact that we aren't around forever.
Exactly, yeah. Like
definitely.
it's all you can do, isn't it? Just like make
Live
the
in the
most of
moment.
it and live in
Yeah.
the moment. But that's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also think it's something that comes up a lot. Like I've noticed doing this podcast that a lot of people speak about the idea of perfectionism as an artist, and it's really hard because it's your definition of what is perfect, and obviously your own art is never going to be perfect to yourself because artists are the most self-deprecative people in the whole wide world. But at the same time, it's finding the ability to be able to cherish the little imperfections within your own art. But
exactly that.
Yeah.
It is exactly that, and embracing them. And sometimes that it takes looking through somebody else's eyes to appreciate them. You know,
Yeah.
like the things that you class as an imperfection, other people might class that as like something special. You know, and I
Yeah.
think that's true of things outside of music as well. But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it's such a difficult landscape to be in, and you know you're bearing your heart and soul, and you want it to be something that you're immensely proud of, obviously, and to find that balance of when a song or when a project is at its end. It's not only is it the fact of like this is as good as I can get it, but it's also then the fact of I've finished that now and I need to move on to something else, which is a difficult task in itself as well. you know.
Yeah,
So-
that's so true, Adam. How deep.
I know.
Maybe
It's
the
so
reason I
true.
never finish anything is because I'm too scared to start anything.
No, it is so true. It's and I think that's true of anything in life. Like it's difficult to end a chapter and start a new one. Like that's always daunting for anybody. And really, like what I mean, I can only speak for myself, but what I'm doing with my music, hopefully, is like documenting what I'm experiencing, so that like I like to think that one day when I'm older, I look back on these things and be like, yeah, I remember when I felt this way about that, and look at how those views have changed. And I think that is why it's so important to get it right and for it to be accurate and true to yourself. But in the same way, it's hard to leave any chapter behind. And, you know, whether you think of it as an EP or a chapter of your life, you know,
Yeah.
it's the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like that you're so heavily involved in every aspect of your project as well, though, because the artwork features a cherry blossom. And was that shot on film by you?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I shoot all of the artwork on my dad's old film camera. So like I mentioned that my dad is into his photography and things. So he doesn't shoot film. In fact, when I first like brought it up, he was like, you know, why would you want to shoot on film? Like, but yeah, like I absolutely love it. And he took like our old photographs. Like there's a picture of me and my mum. I'm like 2 feet tall. Like walking along the beach with my mum, and that was like the same camera that took that is the same one that I used to take my artwork. And yeah, that was just a cherry blossom in York. And again, summing up that idea of like things being, is the word ephemeral? George, help me out. You know, the things that things are like beautiful while they last, but they don't last forever, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
Ephemeral.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Ephemeral. Yeah.
That is so true with cherry blossoms as well. I spend half my life missing them and then half my life absolutely thrilled that they're back.
Yeah, they last for hardly any time at all. But
Yeah.
like the streets just look so, you know, especially like Wormgate in York.
Yeah,
you
so
walk down there and
nice.
just like pink petals covering the street.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. But then like 2 weeks later, they're all gone.
Yeah.
In fact, it was actually quite hard to get the shot because I was like trying to find time to go before they all disappeared, which is kind of
Yeah.
ironic. But yeah, so I shoot all my own artwork on film, and whenever I go traveling or whatever, I take the camera with me. So there's the artworks from like all different locations. A place called Jyväskylä in Finland. I shot the empty cover. What were the other ones? I shot one in Switzerland for Together Apart. Yeah, a bunch of different places.
Kind of moving on from the imagery into the film. So you've done quite a lot of film work for your songs as well, haven't you? And like you were saying earlier on like recording on iPhone and VHS and Super 8 and all that sort of stuff. like, how did you decide which formats to use for each bit?
I think that part of it was what was available to us at the time, which is kind of a boring answer, but also
How practical.
but also like it's kind of worked out really interesting. Again, Mickey Dale, who produced the record, had some of these brilliant ideas. You know, he noticed that I came up with the idea to shoot on VHS, so we did that. And then when he found out I was going to Finland, he was like, you know, I've got this Super 8 camera and 2 rolls of film in my fridge, and I'm not going to be using them. So, like, do you want to take it with you?
Cool.
And I mean, the camera itself was like bigger than the actual hand luggage that I took with me to Finland.
Yeah.
Like, it's absolutely huge. The
I
camera.
was going to say that must have been a nightmare to get.
It was a bit of a nightmare to get there, yeah,
Yeah.
but it was so worth it because we shot this amazing video. And again, like, I've never shot on Super 8 film before, and like, I don't think that you necessarily need to be an amazing videographer. I'm certainly not, but like, I know what I'd like to shoot and what things want to look like, and it just turned out beautifully. And again, with New York, I didn't have any luggage at all, so like, well, apart from my clothes, so it just made sense to use my phone. And yeah, my dad actually helped me shoot that video as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. What sort of limitations did you come up with each different format then? Is there any things that particularly stand out as kind of... Well, I always think that limitations kind of spark creativity in different areas. So is there anything that really made you think, oh God, that's pushed me in a direction I wasn't expecting to go?
100%, because I think the idea of shooting on those formats, like even the artwork being on film, I love the idea that you consider what you're shooting more. I know, Kitty, you shoot on film as well, don't you? And I think that you think about it a lot more when it costs quite a bit to like print, and like you only get like so many shots on a roll. So I like the process of it actually making you pause and think about what you're shooting. And in the same way with Super 8, it's like ridiculously expensive for a roll of film. So you get like
I was
3
going to say
minutes.
film is even crazier.
Yeah. So like we knew that we had like, I think we had like 6 minutes of filming time, and so we were really like concise with what we.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I would agonise over 6 minutes of film time.
It was so stressful.
I'm bad enough. I was speaking to you earlier about I love having a disposable camera with me when I go on holiday with my friends, or even if I'm just hanging out with like my family or a group of friends. And I remember the boys one year all took, don't think it was my camera, I think it was one of my friends, but took pictures of their bums they were like they'd each sneak to the bathroom and then take a picture of their bum and then give it back. And my friend, when she took her photos, and she was like, God, those photos went down really quick. And then obviously it was because all the boys had taken pictures of their bums. So our photos weren't quite so carefully chosen as yours. It sounds like you had a lot more pressure than...
Have you got all them in a scrapbook somewhere now?
I don't know
They're all
where
on a
they are. I don't know where they are.
Strategically placed magnets.
I'm surprised. I always keep mine, since that I always keep my disposable camera like on my person, because I just know that I have way too many silly friends that will jeopardise one of my 27 pictures that I have for the whole holiday.
But also sometimes they're like, well, as long as people aren't taking pictures of their butt, like like sometimes they're the best photos, because you know, like I would love to just like give you see those Instagram reels of people that just get handed a disposable camera
at
and
weddings
post it
and
back.
things.
Yeah, and they come back with these amazing shots that capture their lifestyle in a really authentic way. It's really cool.
Moving from the challenges of shooting in Super 8 to the challenges and rewards for creating your upcoming EP Cherish, what were the most challenging aspects of that? Like where did you think you really kind of stumbled along, and how did you overcome them?
I think that because the idea for the record came from a place of like me also wanting to go on this journey to like better myself in terms of my relationship with these concepts. It wasn't just that I wanted to write about them and like document them. I wanted to finish the record being like better equipped to deal with impermanence and imperfection. And like that in itself was actually really hard because it's so deeply ingrained in my personality that there's like, you know, times when, especially in those early stages when I was writing the record, of course there were days, even weeks, where I would get stuck on like, you know, just the sound of a synthesizer or like something inane that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And it's that like finding the means to jump across that. And I think a lot of the time it was just like parking it and coming back. And again, working with Mickey, having that second pair of ears to say like, you know, enough's enough.
That's really nice though, because it's almost like you've built your own armor within that. So you can now listen to that and be like, that's super cool. I didn't need that synth that I agonized over. Like, it's quite nice that that's almost a reflection of your growth within that process.
Yeah,
but
that's why it feels so special, I guess. And I'm really, really like proud of it. And obviously, I've released a few singles from it, but nobody's heard like the full thing yet. Yeah. So I'm so excited to get that out. And I think as well, like, I thought a lot about whether, you know, these were concepts that were really important to me, but I also did think about like how are these songs going to be meaningful to other people. And I think that, like you say, a lot of people experience these concepts are difficult to deal with. And I think that for that reason, I hope that a lot of people find something that they also learn something about themselves from it in the same way that I did.
Nice.
I like that.
It's coming out in April.
April the 11th,
this year.
April the 11th,
2025.
Yeah.
What made you decide to go with vinyl? You said that you were having vinyls pressed.
Yeah, I mean, there's a real theme today, isn't there, of like authenticity and stuff.
Yeah.
Like using
the tactile nature of,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that it only made sense that I was going to release it on vinyl.
Nice.
And it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time.
It's an expensive thing as well. So like it's quite a big decision to make.
For sure. And I think that I also was lucky enough to meet somebody that works in York. I don't know if you know, but in York, they've actually got a vinyl press now for the first time. And I think the nearest one was like Newcastle before York.
Yeah.
Just ended up making this friendship with Lucy from Vinyl Press. And I don't know, she just made it sort of seem possible. They're very excited and accommodating when it comes to like up and coming artists being able to create vinyl, because I think it's one of the few ways that artists can make money back, like through gigs and merch.
Yeah.
So whilst it was a big investment, I think it was something that like I really wanted to do.
And it's a really special thing as well for someone to... I feel you've mentioned this before, Adam, that you love putting something on, like you love putting a vinyl on because you already feel fully immersed in it. You have to listen to it.
Yeah.
It pins you to a location, and for me, just the act of pulling the vinyl out of the sleeve and opening the record player up and sitting it down, and it's just like it's very, like I say, very tactile. It's very immersive, and then you sit there, and I just feel like I listen to it in a different way than I would listen to a song on Spotify.
There's a mindfulness to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
I suppose like music is so easily accessible now, and that's great in so many ways. Like we can listen to lots of things that previously you would have to buy to experience or whatever. But
there lies the problem a little bit, though.
But it's also, it's like a catch-22, isn't it? Because you also, people don't engage with records in the same way. And I think that whilst I love the fact that people will stream my music as singles, and I really hope that people enjoy them that way, the idea of it being like a body of work and the idea of it being an EP that people will listen to start to finish, like you're explaining, in a mindful way, I think that's quite important too.
Because there's so much effort that goes into creating that. It's not just it's the song selection, what song follows another, and I don't think a lot of people, like the average consumer, shall I put it, really understands how much effort goes into the creation of that physical aspect of it. And when it's digital, it takes away all that, the sleeve notes, the artwork. It becomes just a little thumbnail in the corner of your screen, which is not really like we've spoke so heavily today about how much effort you've gone into creating these bits of art to accompany like the music.
I was thinking that about the newest Billie Eilish album. I really like that she's made it so that the end of songs have a little bit of the start of the next song in, or it's a really nice flowing album. But I really like that because it means that if you listen to, I had my phone on shuffle the other day and one of her songs came on and then a different song came on afterwards, and I was like, oh, but I've heard a bit of that song now, so I want to listen to the full album.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
actually a really clever idea to be like, well, you know what song comes next, so
Yeah,
you might
yeah.
as well listen to it.
It's great, and
But,
it's amazing that artists that big are doing things like that. You know,
Yeah.
instead of leaning into the viral
Yeah.
sensation thing, which like
Breaking the mold a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I would hate to see the album die out. And
Me
you
too.
know,
Me
it's,
too.
Yeah,
And like what you're saying there, Kitty, that's not a that used to be done a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
In
It's
older
not,
records.
Yeah.
They did the blended into the next song.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not really come up with a new concept as much as just reinvigorating it, bringing it
Yeah.
back in, so people can be like, oh, why is that song doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's because it's supposed to be followed by another song, like it's been written like that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And it's crazy because there will be a whole generation of people that don't understand that. That's the
Yeah.
first time
Yeah.
that they will have encountered that. You know,
Yeah.
because it's been that way for a while now, and breaking the mold, like you say, it's important.
So how can fans get a hold of your vinyl, and where can they come and see you live?
Yes, so you can pre-order the vinyl now on Shopify. There's a link on my Instagram at @flat2_, so that's all words. And I'm on TikTok as well. And live shows. I've got one live show, a big live show coming up. It's in the basement at City Screen in the centre of York. I really wanted to fit in with the whole visual aspect of it. I really wanted the first show to be underneath the cinema in York, because I just thought that's an amazing place. So we
Yeah,
approached
nice.
them and thought
That's
that'd be
great.
cool. But yeah, and you guys should be there. You should come down, and it's going to be a
definitely.
great night.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So before we get into the quickfire round, let's go into your second live performance. What have you
Brilliant.
got for us?
Yeah, so this is We Can Blame the Winter off my first record.
Lovely, thank you.
We can blame the winter instead for the reason around yours again, with both your arms round my neck. We can blame the window that's closed for the reason we're so out of breath, the reason that you stick in my head. We just chat for hours on your couch, drinking gin while I figure you out. Are we just friends? Are we just hanging out? I wasn't sure until you kissed my mouth. Tell me, are these feelings too soon? I try to shake them, but they're still coming through. Shall I be honest and just tell you the truth? Would you tell me if you felt the same? We can blame the winter instead for the reason around yours again, with both of your arms round my neck. We can blame the window that's closed for the reason around yours again, with both of your arms round my neck. Back at your apartment again. This time we're sat on your window ledge. I thought that we'd agreed to be friends, but now we're moving closer again. Suppress it, try to press it down. I try not to speak much when I know you're around, 'cause you don't wanna hear it and I get that now. Let's just keep it simple, leave the feelings out. We can blame the winter instead for the reason around yours again, with both of your arms round my neck. We can blame the window that's closed for the reason we're so out of breath, the reason that you stick in my head. We can blame the winter instead for the reason around yours again, with both of your arms round my neck.
So we're into the quickfire section.
Okay, I like the sound of this.
Yep. Sometimes it's not very quick though, so we'll see how it goes.
That's okay. It's quite hot in here.
Brilliant. Right then, what's the worst piece of advice you've ever been given?
Oh my god, that's a. Oh,
This is a quickfire question.
Sorry, I think
yeah.
my phone's ringing. Sorry.
It's all right.
Shall I turn it off?
It depends who it is. You can talk to him if you want.
It's my mum.
Should we keep this in?
Right, I'm turning my phone off.
No. What
You
if
could
you
have answered
answered it?
I-
I always answer the phone to my dad here. Don't I, Adam?
I did just text her, to be fair. Yeah, it'll be fine.
You sure? Oh,
Yeah.
fucking hell, my light's gone off, George.
Is that okay there, by the way? Sorry.
For fuck's sake. It's all right. I've got that one, George.
Quick, call your mum.
I'll chuck it over there. Oh. There's my phone gone under the sofa.
Did you just throw it?
I thought it was going to land on the rug.
It bounced straight off the rug.
Yeah, it's not as cushioning as you'd
No,
first think, is it?
Yeah, it's bouncier than you think, yeah.
God, that bouncy rug.
At least this is giving me time to think about that really not quick fire question that you just asked. Worst
yeah.
piece of advice?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
That's really funny. You're not meant to have time. Forget he asked you that.
Yeah.
What's it? I don't remember the worst piece of advice because it goes in one ear and out the other. I'm sure I can think of something.
I remember.
Are we going?
Oh.
Go
on, give me a hint.
Honestly, I don't know whether we're still in the podcast or not anymore. George has been running around. Your mum's phoned us. You didn't like my fucking question. Like,
No, I love
are we
the question.
keeping this in or are we getting rid of it?
No, I love the question, but I just can't think of what the answer is.
Right. Are we?
I don't know. We're just going to carry on.
Okay.
So you
It's
don't know.
madness.
Okay. Kitty, I feel like you were just about to tell me what your worst piece of advice you were
No,
given
I
was.
wasn't. I was going to say I would like to hear your answer first.
Okay, right. Let me think.
Need that a countdown clock. Worst
Worst piece of advice.
What? Just get copyrighted for that now.
Come on.
We did not sing it well enough to be copyrighted. Wow, this is not quick fire.
This is
at
not
all.
very exciting for
no.
the podcast, is it?
No.
Shall I tell my story? Well,
Please. Yeah. You can cut this down, right?
I hope so. I don't know anymore. I don't know what's happened for the last 5 minutes.
I listened to a podcast recently with Paul Mescal, and they asked him the same question, and he said that a director once said, "You need to take your suit off," and he was like, "I'm not even wearing a suit. That's really shit advice." And I just thought that was really funny that someone said that to him. Like, you need to take your suit off. I guess it's like he needs to leave everything at the door or whatever the director was trying to say. But I think that's really funny for the worst piece of advice ever.
That is quite good.
I might start telling people to take their suit off. Have you got any advice for, take your suit off?
The only thing I can think of is when I was at film school, I made like a film. And it got yeah, I know.
Talk about groundbreaking.
And it was just like it got absolutely slated, basically, in front of the
Aw.
entire year group. Like it was like the last year. This was just before I dropped out. Not unrelated. And but I just think in general, like critiquing people's art is not a good idea. Like in the sense of, I think like shitting on people's art, basically, you know, like at the time I was learning to be a filmmaker, and you know, like I was trying out different things, and like it's absolutely fine to create something that isn't amazing or something that other people consider to be a failure. And like to be an established person in any industry telling somebody that's learning the ropes that you know, that what they're creating is shit, is like, I just don't think there's any place for that. But that got a bit deep. But yeah, that's probably the shit advice that I've had.
That's good.
I don't know if it's advice though. It was more just critique.
Yeah.
More just shitting on your artwork.
Yeah.
Sounds healthy.
It was really brutal.
Yeah.
I like what you did there. You took the question, threw it away, and just answered something else. That's great.
It's okay if you don't want to use that, guys.
If someone heckles you at a gig, what is your go-to response?
Well, I'm originally from Keighley, so it'd probably have to be the headbutt.
No, that went in a lot further than I thought.
Amazing. That was the best quickfire yet.
What's the strangest DM you've ever had from a fan?
Strangest.
Yeah, or weirdest, or
This weird guy Adam asked me to
Yeah.
come on a music podcast.
Yeah, somebody asked me to bring a tea bag to a podcast once.
yeah. Do you know what? Fair play. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, that's the best I got.
Okay.
If you were stranded, this is just your bog standard basic.
We're definitely not stealing from Desert Island Discs with
No.
this question.
Never
Okay.
heard of it.
Yeah.
Of course.
If you were stranded, if a CD got stuck in your car CD player,
Yeah.
what CD would you want it to be?
That's a great question. Yeah, that's a really good question.
Wow! Adam, you just changed it up.
I changed it up
That's
on the
not
fly.
what's written. If you were stranded on a desert island with only
Whoa,
one album,
stop
is
giving it
what's
away.
written.
Stop giving it away.
I'm going to say probably Frank Ocean Blonde, because I love that record and I can listen to it repeatedly, and I hear new things every time and take different things from it every time I listen to it. Yeah, I think it's beautiful. There's so many albums that I'd want to get stuck in my car, but yeah, I think
I
that's
actually
the top
have. I can put 6 CDs in my car at once, so
What?
that wouldn't be a problem for
one.
me.
What have you got? A hi-fi?
It's just got one of those big square where it just spin round on the top.
I've got a Skoda Yeti.
Wow. Okay. Well, I've got Fiat 500, so we only get one CD.
I think actually you've got half of one.
That's true. We did have a nasty crash the other day, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I don't know if that makes it any better, but not with a person, with a deer.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
rough. It was rough.
that is rough.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, guys.
Yeah.
It's what you get for shitting all of my questions. So.
If your lyrics could be a tattoo, what do you think would be the worst? What would the worst lyric for someone to get tattooed on them?
Oh, this is good. There is a lyric that I really hate in one of my songs. I can't remember what it is. I remember.
I wasn't looking for self-hate. I was looking for like one that would be funny, but
Oh, okay.
you can go down the self-hate route if you want, though. That's cool.
Like a silly tattoo idea. I guess it'd be I bleached my hair 6 fucking times. Because it's just
Yeah.
kind of random. If,
Good
If
one.
it's on just like a random person.
I almost kind of like it though.
Yeah.
I
might get it tattooed
Should
on
we
my
all
arse.
get it? And then take a picture with someone's disposable camera.
Yeah, that'd be
Absolutely.
great. Yeah.
Right, so if someone had never heard of Flat Number 2, which track would you recommend they start with, and why?
Yeah, I think the one that I'm always most proud of is Where I'm Supposed to Be from the first record, just because, I don't know, something
I
about
love
that
the
song.
idea behind that one.
Yeah.
I do think it's really lovely.
Yeah, and I think that, like, I don't know, when I think back to writing it, like, it just sort of, like, flowed out of me and it's this beautiful thing, and it, like, perfectly summed up exactly what I was feeling and experienced at the time, and, like, continues to do so.
Yeah.
And I think that also, I can imagine that people, like, listening to that song and finding comfort in it and feeling... I don't know, just I guess like feeling seen by those kind of lyrics. But yeah, so I think it's got to be Where I'm Supposed to Be.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we've already mentioned it a little bit, but if people are looking to find you on your socials, where's best to find you, really?
Probably Instagram at @flat_2_. Like I post a lot on that. And then I've got TikTok as well, just at @flat_2.
Without an underscore.
Without an underscore, yeah. I'm really trying hard to get that underscore removed, but somebody's got a flat called @flat_2, and I've offered to buy it off them, and they won't. Not the flat, but the username. It's not happening. And then yeah, YouTube. If you want to see the music videos, you can check us out on Spotify. Yeah, all the usuals.
So will there be links to all that below? In our usual fashion.
I thought you said, "Will there be links?"
No, there
to that. I
will
was
be.
like,
I was going to answer that too. I was,
Yeah.
"You're in charge, Adam. I hope there is."
Okay, I've made the executive decision. There will be links to all that below.
Okay, good. We all know that now.
And so if we're looking to buy tickets and vinyls, so that's your Shopify
Shopify, yeah.
for
and
vinyl. And
18th for the gig, right?
18th of April. And
Yeah.
also, if you buy a vinyl, you can get a free ticket to come to the show in York as well.
nice.
So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
We love that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So start buying. Get them bought.
Get 'em bought.
Absolutely. Right then. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys
It's
so much.
been an absolute pleasure having you over today. We've laughed a lot, drunk a lot of tea, and eaten a lot of pizza.
How
Probably
was
too
your
much
matcha
pizza.
experience on a scale of 1 to 10?
How was what?
Your matcha experience.
On a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah.
10's like,
10's like, yeah,
It's
you're
blown
never
my
going to
socks
drink
off.
another tea again
Oh.
because it's so good.
oh, right, yeah, okay. I'm going to put it as a solid 7.
Oh.
7.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
have,
really
honestly, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It looks weird
I was going to
as
say,
hell.
even when the oat milk curdled, it's still a 7.
So that's not supposed to look like that?
No. It's supposed to be like
Okay.
a smooth green. It doesn't supposed to have like lumps in it.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
right.
The,
I thought you just chewed on them bits.
the lumps are not the vibe.
Man, why did no one just make me one without curdled fucking milk in it? What's going on?
It was too late.
Well,
I honestly thought that were part of the tea.
imagine if you had a proper one. I guess it'd be 10 then, wouldn't it?
What? Could be.
He might never drink a Yorkshire tea again. Watch
Whoa.
out, Yorkshire.
Whoa. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. But yeah, no, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Your tea was brilliant. You've been lovely. Please come back on again, and I very much hope to see you at the cinema. What's it called?
City
Basement.
Screen
City
Picture House
Screen.
at the basement underneath. Yeah.
And that's on the
18th of April.
18th of April. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I know we've all already just mentioned that, but I got blown away by the chunky tea that I've just had. And now I don't know if I'm going to be able to recover.
No, but also thank you so much to you guys as well for having me, because it's been so lovely.
Aw.
And what you guys do, like championing local music, is so important, and it's really special what you guys have got here. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to us. It really does. Right then. Well, thank you very much. Remember, you can find Flat Number 2 on Instagram. That's at Flat Number 2 _, and on TikTok at Flat Number 2, no underscore. No underscore. And if you're the guy that's got at Flat Number 2 without an underscore on Instagram, then what are you doing? Come
Hand
on.
it over.
Hand it over.
Yeah, come
It's
on,
for the
guys.
greater good.
No one cares about your flat.
No. But yeah, thanks again. You can hit us up on Instagram, Indie Tea Talk with an underscore. It's all about the underscores at the moment.
God.
Underscore. That's all I feel like I've said.
Yeah, that's literally what I've heard.
You can also find us on YouTube. There's no underscores on that, just Indie Tea Talk.
I forgot what I'm
Wow.
called at this point.
Yeah. So this has been underscore with some underscore. And until next time, thank you very much.
See ya.
Bye.
Underscore.